Here's the application process.
Hey Fundwise partners, welcome to lesson 6. We're going to go through the application process, what a client goes through when they are applying for funding and how that works. So you'll get questions probably from others when it comes to funding, maybe questions online when you're networking or whatever. So how does it work? And you'll want to be prepared with an answer of how this all works. So applying. In our last lesson, we went through landing pages, and I'll take you through what that looks like. I'll put in a test lead so you can see what the process looks like on the Fundwise 2.0 landing page, and then we'll talk about the rest of these things, what happens after someone applies, and just the process that they go through. So we will go into, here we are already. So let's see here. Okay. Let me just go back to the main landing page so you can see the full process. So here is the Fundwise 2.0 landing page that you should use. You'll click on the client. Say I'm a client and I'm applying, so I'll click on that button. And then it says, alright, how much do you need? So put in like $50,000. Click continue. What's your credit score? I don't know, maybe it's like 680 or 700. Some clients don't know exactly what that amount is, so this is just an example. And they'll click on there. Sometimes they'll click on there, but most people have a general idea of where they're at. And we'll see most estimating a little high. And just to let you know, credit monitoring companies or credit report companies, they'll vary because there are different scoring methods. There's FICO and there's different levels of FICO. There's Vantage scoring as well, and there's different types and models of Vantage scoring. So a credit report can range in 100 different points from one credit report company to another. There can be 100-point range. So the credit score is really just a general idea of where they're at. And we don't want you to worry about all the details and the crazy stuff. We'll explain some of that so that you know how all that works, so that when you find quality leads, you know they're quality leads. And so we'll go over all that in some later videos. But this is just the application process for now, what they go through. Okay. So click on that, click continue, and when did you start your business? If they have a business, they put in the month and the year, but they can also click on, hey, I haven't started yet, I'm a startup, have them contact you. I'll put in just testing. See what all the steps look like, and I'll put in, if you ever want to do a test lead, put in zeros for the phone number and put in just a test email as well, and then just so that we know it's a test, put in test with your name if you're wanting to test out a lead. So that's how that can work, because if you go through the process and test the lead out, then you'll have a good idea of what your client will be going through. And this is why we're doing this video right here. So birth date, I'll just pick a random one so you don't know my true birth date. It doesn't really matter, I don't care, but that's the birth date there. And this is where the address of the individual that's applying lives. I'm picking a random one right here. I'll click on continue, and then you just click on agree for us to be able to get the credit report of a client. It does not affect their credit. It's a soft pull, but we just need permission to get the credit report, and that's it. And it takes like a minute for someone to apply. That is all. That's all the info we need for underwriters to start the process, to go through and see what the funding options are. And at this point, our team is reaching out by email, text, or phone to the client, get a hold of them, ask them a couple more questions like, hey, what do you need the funding for? How much do you need? how soon do you need it, and a couple questions if they have a business, things like that. It only takes just a few short minutes on the phone to know the best funding programs that could be available for this individual, and then we'll go through with our underwriting team, and it takes maybe half an hour to do the underwriting after our automated underwriter already goes through it, pulls out data, and gives us insights on what's possible for the client. So we have an automated underwriting system, but we also have our underwriting team that manually goes through, because it's both an art and a science. And auto underwriters are not always precise and exact, so we want to even put in that creative part of how can we get this person the money that they need, and even how can we create a combination of funding programs to get them to where they want to go. And that is the application process with the landing page. So quick and easy. It takes like a minute. So that's applying. And then after that, like I mentioned, that's when we call, text, and email, and then setting up an appointment with the senior funding advisor. When we reach out, our setter team is what we call it. There are agents that are reaching out and following up and getting a hold of your referrals. They'll get on the phone with them and ask a few questions, and at that time we'll also set up an appointment with them with the senior funding advisor. The senior funding advisor goes over the funding options with the client and how it all works and the process that they go through on the phone. If the client likes the options that they have, then we will send them a DocuSign agreement via email. And if the client, the applicant, wants to go ahead through the funding process, they'll just sign the DocuSign agreement, and then they will be assigned a funding manager. So the time from here until here, just depending on the client, can all be in the same day. If someone is kind of weighing their options, then the client may be on a couple calls with the senior funding advisors. We talk with them about their options and how we can help them and all that kind of stuff. So anywhere from the same day, even in a few hours, all of these things can be done. Or maybe sometimes it's a few days or even a couple of weeks, just depending on how fast this client wants to move and what they want to do. But usually it's quick. Usually it's 1 or 2 phone calls with the senior funding advisor, and then we send them to the funding manager, where the funding manager holds the client's hand through the funding process, and we do applications on behalf of or with the client, whatever the program that they're going through is. Usually it's the credit lines, which is our core product. The funding manager goes through everything with them, holds their hand through the process. Funding can be anywhere from 7 days to a few weeks, just depending on the qualifications and what the situation is of the client, but we'll also go through that in a later video, so you know everything about how that all works. So action items: share your landing page link with someone that is looking for funding and get get your first lead. Work on getting that first lead through. The first deal is the hardest. After you go through that process, then it's easier and easier after that. So go ahead and do those things, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right, I wanted to share this with you just in case you wanted to know how the process was. Okay, this is about a 9-minute video. Okay.